As we move on to part 3 of the pathway towards self-advocacy, we're looking at the communication of the knowledge of self and of rights that has been developed so far using the multimedia advocacy approach. That communication is where multimedia advocacy really starts to come into its own and be a tool of empowerment for the individual. They can use their multimedia advocacy portfolio to come across more effectively, to share their wishes and needs, to tell people about the important things in their lives explicitly. That communication might happen, for instance, in a review meeting. It might be in a one-to-one session with a personal carer or a PA. If the individual has already prepared a whole album or portfolio of multimedia material, then they have a real assistive communication tool. It can help the individual to express their wishes, needs and preferences. It can help them to share what's important in their lives, and it can help them to steer the sorts of decisions that need to be made as they move forwards. It's useful as multimedia advocacy begins to ask those big questions. What's working? What's not working? What needs to change, or what do we need to do to make sure that things don't change because they're working well? It's important that these big questions inform our multimedia advocacy process as we work with individuals. We're doing this, remember, in order to help people to move forward and to take control of their lives. Multimedia advocacy is a sort of wide-scale, if you like, a holistic approach. So as we gather together the multimedia advocacy portfolio with the individual, we're not exclusive. We include everything that comes up. We build that portfolio in an open way. But as we approach the third stage, communication of self and rights, we have particular objectives that we've negotiated and agreed with the individual. So we'll go back to the portfolio, we'll select together what material might work best in order to get the right messages across to the appropriate people in order to achieve the changes that we want to make or to gain the future we're trying to achieve. So I'll give you a few examples. Say we're looking at who we'd like to employ as our PA going forward. We might want to review some of the other people who've supported us in the past and have conversations where we highlight what was great about that individual, what we particularly liked about the way in which they supported us. Another example might be planning a holiday. Let's start by looking back at the holidays we've already had and the images and the video clips maybe that we've captured from those experiences, and that helps us to review and plan ahead. We're really proud of some of the examples we've had where people who have learning disabilities have used their multimedia advocacy portfolios to lead and to chair their review meetings. That's this stage 3, that's the communication of self and rights in the hands of the individual. There's loads of preparation involved, loads of process, but process that is powerful and useful in itself. But then when it comes to that review meeting, and instead of the individual sitting there wondering what's going on or feeling excluded, they're taking charge and they're leading each subject as it's discussed by showing their portfolio. There's a completely different set of power relationships involved, and the individual is genuinely having a say in their future. And for the supporters, there's a different experience. They're not talking about an abstract service provision. They're meeting an individual. They're celebrating their successes, and they're working together to try and realise their goals and ambitions.